So let's discuss the qualities of a leader, and especially the qualities of a leader when you're leading a voluntary army. It is completely different than when you're in corporate America versus building a business of independent agents, right? That you're leading. So I want to take you to the great book of Titus in the New Testament. And in chapter 2, this is what the book says that you must teach your people. It says, teach the older men to be temperate, worthy of respect, self-controlled, and sound in faith, love, and endurance. Likewise, teach the older women to be reverent in the way that they live, not to be slanderers or addicted to too much wine, but to teach what is good. Then they can train the younger women, duplication, to love their husbands and children, to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home, to be kind, and to be subject to their husbands so that no one will malign the word of God. Similarly, encourage the young men to be self-controlled. In everything, set them an example by doing what is good. In your teachings, show integrity, seriousness, soundness of speech that cannot be condemned, so that those who oppose you may be ashamed because they have nothing bad to say about us. Well, that is very parallel to the business that you're building. In the business world, sometimes people don't want to support you. People want to be opposed. There are haters out there, let's just be real, right? That don't want to see you succeed just simply because it makes them out of their comfort zone, realizing that, hey, someone's growing away from me, and that's kind of makes them feel like they're falling behind. And so we also want to make sure that when we're out in the world representing ourselves, we're also an extension and a representative of our company while we're out there too. And so we want to always act in a way where people would not have anything bad to say about us. Just like, you'll hear in the Christian world, oh, I met someone who's a Christian and, they acted this way and they were a hypocrite or whatever. And so I don't want to go to church. Well, it's the same thing in business here too. Oh, I met somebody who was doing your business and they were just whatever. And they were acting whatever opposite qualities of what Titus was saying. And then they just ruin it for you because someone had a bad experience with someone who was not properly representing themselves and the business properly. So I would have to say that, of these instructions, all these qualities are extremely important, but one of them is self-control. Self-control. What does self-control mean, really? What does it mean? I mean, and sometimes it can mean holding back your temper, holding back your temper. But sometimes it can mean having patience, because sometimes people will say things to us that hurt our feelings. It makes you want to lash out and then react and say something unloving because they were unloving to you. But if we can just understand that they haven't seen what we've seen, they don't know or have had the information or the knowledge or the education that we've experienced by being a part of the community, the environment, and what we've taken the time to learn, right? We would have to understand that they just don't know. So instead of being offended by someone's comments, having self-control would take a step back and say, oh, they just don't understand. They just don't understand. And patience. Let's talk about having patience. Building a successful business requires patience. I don't know anybody that got into business and then overnight was a raving success the next day. Never existed, doesn't exist. You've got to read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, because he talks about 10,000 hours. The Beatles had to go through 10,000 hours of performing in live band performances before anybody even knew who they were. Same with Michael Jordan. He had to be practicing 10,000 hours before anybody really discovered who he was. Usually when the champion shows up in the ring, that's not the first time they're taking their shot. That's the 10,000th hour, just like Brian Carruthers did it for 10,000 hours before he came out and became the champion that he's today. So it takes patience. And I want to, I just want to applaud every single one of you who are here on this line today, because you have all withstood the test of time. You've decided to stake your claim in the ground and do it and do whatever it takes. And we've all here faced disappointment. We've all had people say hurtful things to us. We have all had people tell us that they were gonna become a customer and then disappear, the moment you needed them when you're trying to qualify for a goal or something like that, right? We've all had that. We've had people join us and then leave us. So it's, the great quality and the great mark of a leader is self-control, is that patience, kindness, gentleness, goodness, and self-control. And so I guess the best exercise when dealing with people, because in life is the people business. Some people say our business is the people business. I want to say life is the people business, right? You can't go through life without experiencing relationships or interactions with other people. Would you agree? If you want to be married, you have to be in the people business. If you want to have children, you got to be in the people business. If you want to be, someone posted today on Facebook, like, pray for me. My parents are driving me crazy, blah, blah, blah. And she's an acquaintance, so I don't really know her. I don't know her story, but, I prayed for her. And then I said, I don't know what she's going through, and God, give her the mental peace. But at the same time, I also had to take a step back and say, you know what? Regardless of what we've been through with our parents, maybe we had a terrible upbringing, maybe we had abusive parents, and they didn't know what they were doing. But thank God for them, even if you've never met your parents, thank God for them, because you're here on this earth. You've been able to have a life here on this earth because of your parents. So there's always so much to be grateful for. There's so much to be taking a look at when it comes to relationships and the people that we interact with, that we have to interact with on a daily basis, and those that we get to choose to interact with in building our businesses and building our teams. Now, I also want to share with you some practical information about when it comes to building teams. Lou Moya did a really incredible training last night on the winning team call. Well, Lou, I've got to put the recording onto the team website, but it was incredible. And if you heard Lou's talk, you probably thought that the people that he had talk have been in the business for a while. No, he started this brand new team last month. In the month of May, those 3 people that spoke last night, they all joined and they were brand new. What happened differently that Lou did? Now, Lou's been in the business for a while, but you're now hearing about his name now. It's because he made the decision. He went to the convention in wherever we were, Oklahoma, and he goes, okay, this is my time. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get serious. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to be ED. So, okay, let's go, Lou. Let's do it. And so then he came home and then he started planting seeds. And then in May, he got his first recruit. The convention was April 5th or something, right? So he was planting seeds for a month. He got his first recruit in May. And he decided he was going to just do it and do it right and just be on it. And so each person that he recruited in May, he said, hey, I'm building a leadership group. These are people that are serious, that want to go to the top, and who wants to rank advance, because there's the Build New in 2022 rank advancement promotion going on right now. And so Lou's like, so some people were like, yes, I want to do it. Take me to the top. And then others were like, well, this summer the kids are home and I've got this and that. So we call that building your Super Bowl team, putting people in the team, in your all-star team, and then putting people on the bench. Now, you don't tell them you're putting them on the bench. They put themselves on the bench. You ask them if they want to run for the promotion and they give you all sorts of excuses. It's never, no, I don't want to go for it. It's always just, oh, well, I'm doing this weekend and the next weekend I got that. That's how no comes out. Okay. So then you just mentally put them on the bench, but everybody else you put in your all-star team. So Lou had this all-star team and he said, okay, if I'm going to put you into this text group. He's not even using GroupMe. He's just using his iPhone. And I don't know how he was able to create a group with his iPhone, but he created this group. And then every time someone who's serious that wants to run joins it, he adds them to this group. And so they've been cheering each other on every day. And they've been building a team of culture of saying, oh, they're actually not celebrating accomplishments. They're celebrating activity. So they're like, oh, Betty just booked her first private Zoom call. Way to go, Betty. And everyone's like, yay. Or, and someone's like, hey, I did 2 exposures today. I talked to my neighbor. I was so scared, but I did it. And everyone's like, yay. So celebrating the activity. And he's created this group. Now, what else is he doing with this group? He's teaching them what to do, but he's also teaching them how to think. Our job as a leader is not to solve our people's problems. Our job as a leader is to teach them how to think about the problem. Our job is to teach them not how to fix it, but how to change the mindset around the problem. So Lou's been gathering his sheep once a week, as you could say, well, then, they're people, all right, his wonderful leaders, his budding leaders, but let's just call it, he's shepherding his sheep once a week. Every Thursday, he has his core call and with this group, and they get a chance to share the activity that they did. And then they also get a chance to get to know each other. And it's creating this, I'm in it together and I'm not alone kind of a thing, which helps people go along a little bit longer. Because you could go fast by yourself, but you could go longer when you're with a group. And the business is not always going to be up and to the right. It looks more like a roller coaster, to be honest with you. There were days that I was like, yes, I made a whole bunch of exposures. I feel good. And then there's the next day I'm feeling low energy. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I'm like feeling depressed. Oh, it's not happening fast enough. Oh, look at all these people rank advancing faster than I am. Oh, what's wrong with me? Oh, maybe this isn't for me. Oh, maybe I should go get a real job, blah, 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 whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's up and down, it's up and down, it's up and down. But as long as you stick with it and you keep taking steps to move forward every day, right? That's when your business when your roller coaster goes up and to the right, but it's bumpy. Okay, it's never smooth. It's bumpy, but it's up and to the right instead of up and down and then all the way down. Okay, when you stop taking action is when it goes down. It's like pumping the well, like Al talks about. So some people haven't heard this, so I hope it's okay, Al, unless Al, you want to explain it. But when you pump the well, I grew up in New Jersey and we had well water. So if you pump the well, if you pump it, the water doesn't come out at first. You have to like pump it for like 3 minutes. And you're like, is there even any water in there? Is this dry? Is this like, should I just not do it anymore? Should I go drill a hole somewhere else or whatever? And you're pumping. What's happening is the water is being siphoned up, and coming through. And then the air bubbles have to fix itself. And then all of a sudden it starts to come up, right? But once the water does come out, the effort of pumping the well is as easy as like my finger. Before I was using all my muscles, right? But now it's like a finger tap to keep the well going if I want the water to keep coming out. And that's the way this business is like, it feels like a rocket ship. Did you know the rocket ship uses 98% of its fuel on the blast off? And then when it's in the air, the whole rest of the trip, 2% of its fuel. So in the beginning, in those first few years, I was like, I worked hard at this business for 5 years, right? I'm going to be honest with you. It took 5 years of kicking butt every day, 5 days a week, strong, and took 2 days off. And then just boom, I'd hit it hard for 5 years. But Debbie will tell you that I started having kids, and then I was like, not whatever. And then And then I'm still getting paid today. The majority of my multiple six-figure cash flow today is coming in from the first 5 years of concentrated, focused pumping of well, if that makes sense. And ever since then, I've just kind of done the finger tap for the last 13 years. I've been in for 18 years. So it was that 5 years, okay? So some of your people are like, I don't think I have 5 years. I don't know if I want to give it 5 years. Well, look, what's your alternative? Do you want to keep working? If some people love the job that they have and they want to keep doing it forever, that's awesome. You know, but some people can't wait to get rid of their job. I'm talking to you. You want to keep working at your job for the next 40 years? Or are you willing to give this 5 years of pumping that well and focus and to be consistent? Consistency is the key, because the second you take your hand off the well, what happens? What happens, Al? What happens when you take your hand off the well and you stop pumping?
Oh, the level goes down, and then you're sweating trying to get it back up, and other people are relying on you. So, well, where's the water? Well, you were supposed to help me, but then you didn't open your heart to show them that they could benefit in their families, and others could benefit from the water. What's the spiritual water? The water of life. I'm not saying it right, but what Jesus said, by the well.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
Living water. Living water.
Living water.
Yeah.
That's right. So you'll hear people's stories that are like, I've been in it for a long time, and then I built it or whatever. And you wonder, there are some people that'll say, oh, I was an executive director and now I'm not anymore. You'll be like, what happened? Is there something wrong with the business? What's going on? No, what happened was they let go a little too soon. They let go a little too soon. They stopped pumping a little too soon. So now they have to rebuild. You'll hear people talk about that, of having to pump, that they won't have to do it for another 5 years. Okay, it's just that first 5 years. But you'll hear people of having to do that. I want to just plead to you that if you just make that 5-year commitment, right? And how old will you be in 5 years? And and no matter how old you are, don't get discouraged, because, like, again, the alternative is what? But if you do a hashtag, if you do little hash marks of every day, every year for the average lifespan, and let's call it 100 years because of beautiful modern medicine, right? 100 years, if you do 100 marks, what's 5 years of 100 marks on your page, right? Your page really looks like this. 5 years of your page that looks like this. What's 5 years? But guess what 5 years also is? 10,000 hours. By then, you are the master of your craft. And, when people say no, or they reject you, or they say things, it bounces off you. You don't even feel it. You're like bulletproof at that point. Of course, things hurt when people do disappoint you, but still, you're human. But it doesn't hurt as bad. It doesn't hurt as bad. And you kind of know, you can kind of look at it instead of being in it and being really hurt by it. You're able to actually look at it, if that makes any sense, and say, oh, this is what's going on. This is that. And you feel sorry. You feel sorry for the offender instead of feeling offended. On a side note, one thing I learned from, who was it? Oh my gosh. Okay, it'll come to me. Maybe it was one of you. Oh, no, it was Jessica Roberts, who is here in Southern California, and she was talking about social media. She kicks butt on social media. I've never been the kicker butter on social media when it comes to getting business. I've got business from social media, organically, but I haven't physically said, okay, I'm going to go for it, and this is my social media plan of action, and I'm going to focus on getting business from social media. I like socializing on social media. But what she said was the secret on getting on social media is to stop trying to be interesting. Stop trying to be interesting. Oh, look at me, and this is blah, 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 whatever. And start being interested in other people. See, it's not about what you post as much as it is how you are liking, commenting, and engaging in other people's posts and showing care and concern. You know, there was the girl the other day that was really upset and she was, having a bad day or whatever. And then a week later, I remembered her and I reached out to her on a private message. I said, hey, how's everything? I know the other day you were saying, is everything okay? And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you for even noticing. I didn't even think anybody cared. So as we're in all of our normal day-to-day interactions, in addition to social media, let's focus on that. Let's stop worrying about what others think of you and start more thinking of other people. It's a whole other energy when you're building a business like that. All right. Love you guys.